The following video is one in a series on spiritual resilience training, a non-religious view of personal values and their dynamics with others. The contents reflect a variety of principles and practices of systems theory in relational counseling for team building and family resilience. Although the series is intended to support Army Corps values, each video also encourages the viewer to reflect on their current prominent values in specific situations and to consider what values may be more appropriate to means and results that are honorable and helpful with others. Chaplain Dillard initiates creating and posting these videos. Their contents and YouTube's linked videos do not necessarily reflect specific beliefs, practices, requirements, or endorsements of the Department of Defense, its subordinate organizations, or other groups with which Chaplain Dillard is affiliated.
Welcome back. If you have seen the previous video on solution-focused counseling, you know that we're looking at some techniques to help somebody identify specific behaviors that they can do toward their solutions. We're not looking at the why of the problem. We're not looking at psychodynamics or beliefs or values, just positive behaviors that they have done in the past to help them achieve similar goals now or in their near future. Let's pick up where we left off. Another very simple technique is called the fly on the wall, or that's what I call it, or you can call it the video camera, whatever works for you. And you can state it something like this. If I was a fly on the wall or a video camera in that store, what would I have seen to show that a good thing is happening here between you and Dad? Not the bad thing, but that time when it didn't happen, that exception. What would I have seen? Well, there wasn't a lot of people in the store. I saw that he wasn't busy. I waited until he stopped talking to you because you were there too and didn't interrupt. So because it makes it visual, it takes their mind and kind of makes them the fly on the wall as they think about it, or the video camera. It's very much about behavior. It's very much about what they did, what the other person was doing, the context. It makes it easier for them to describe specific actions that they took to help facilitate that positive response, that solution. Another type of technique in solution focus is called the miracle question, and it's very specifically, again, focused on behavior, and you phrase it something like this. Now you've already identified their specific concern, the problem, and you've got them to be more detailed, and also identified some exceptions. You phrase it something like this. Let's suppose you went to sleep tonight and a miracle happened to you while you were asleep that has changed something about you so that now you're better able to handle this problem. When you woke up in the morning, what is one of the very first things that you would notice that's different about yourself? And they might name a bunch of things, because this really kind of gets at their subconscious, it gets at their conscious, it paints a three-dimensional picture of behavior. It's very powerful. They might say, well, I would jump out of bed in a good attitude, and I would take care of everything I need to in the morning without having to lay there and hit my snooze several times. Wow, so you'd show a lot of initiative and good attitude? Is that what you're saying? You try to paraphrase or ask them to clarify for you. Yeah, it's that. It's I'd make good use of my time because I know that I got to go in there and eat breakfast with Dad, and he's busy and sometimes in a hurry. So you'd be preparing yourself efficiently in order to have effective time with Dad? Yeah. Or they might say something different. Yeah, it's that, but it's also I'm being responsible. You would be more responsible. Now, I'm not trying to put words in their mouth. I'm just giving you some possible things that they could respond with. So it could be about initiative, it could be about responsibility, it could be about attitude, but they've already started to name some behaviors that they believe would be positive influences toward the solution about the money or the respect or how that Dad treats them in front of other relationships. So that can be powerful, and then you take it back to that initial problem. How do you think that would help you to talk to Dad about whatever the problem is, money, disrespect, that particular friend? And then they start to come up with their own solutions. Another solution-focused method is a scaling question. The scaling question usually runs from 1 to 10, 1 being the worst possible and 10 being the best ever, whatever. Could be motivation, it could be optimism, it could be anger, it could be their interest in the problem or moving forward in the problem, whatever is their concern. And you want to get that number from 1 to 10, again making sure they understand 1 is the worst ever, 10 is the best ever. So you get a baseline, and then you move from there. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how upset are you with Dad? About a 9, does that mean that 10 is perfect anger? Yeah, 10 is like blazing, exploding up hot. And so that's the problem in the way they described it, and you want to help move back toward the other end. Well, what could you do to move you from a 9 of anger to maybe an 8, 8.5? And the reason you keep it small is that small measurement implies a small goal. You don't want to say to go from 9 to 2, because they might say that'll never happen. You know, Dad's not that agreeable. You can't make that kind of progress with Dad. So keep it small. Point, point and a half. The more upset they are, the smaller you make that increment. Maybe from a 9 to an 8.7 or something. What could you do to move in that direction that much? Well, I guess I could be patient myself, and even though he disrespected me in front of my friends, I can wait until we get home and talk to him there, because I know if I talk to him in front of my friend, I'm going to get all puffed up, and that's not going to go well either. So I could wait. Wow. Then you make a big deal out of that. Wow, that would show a lot of wisdom and self-control on your part, because you know, just like you didn't respond well when he disrespected you in front of your friend, he's not going to respond well if you do the same thing. That's very mature of you. So you're reinforcing and validating the solutions they're beginning to come up with. That makes sense? So you get a baseline, and then you ask them, what would you have to do to move in a positive direction, whether it's up or down, based on that baseline that they gave you. And you can scale many things. We just scaled an emotion, and you can do that. You can also scale motivation or optimism to move toward the goal. You might say, scale of 1 to 10, and before I go farther, I only use scaling questions no more than 2 or 3 times in a single conversation with a person. Otherwise, it really starts to feel gimmicky, and it is a technique, but you don't want them to feel like your project or you're a pop psychologist and they're a client. It is just a way to talk to somebody and help them to think through movement in a direction toward a solution. So I never do it more than 2 or 3 times in a single conversation. But to scale motivation or optimism, you might say, well, scale of 1 to 10, how motivated are you to work on this? And they might say, about a 3. Because this seems to be a problem all the time. Again, make it a small movement. Well, 10's perfect motivation. What would it take for you to move to a 3.1 or 3.2? Well, I guess I could think of some times that he has respected me. If I could pull up some of those positive memories, that would be helpful. Or if today went well. So then you've got another goal. You've got the goal of how can today go well? Or how can we remember some positive memories? So solution focus can be filled with many, many steps toward many, many solutions, but they're all realistic, concrete, and solutions they come up with and they're agreeable to, because they're only going to follow through on things that they truly believe are good ideas. And if they're their ideas and you agree they're realistic and they're doable, then you can work on them together in terms of brainstorming and motivation and so forth. All right, we're going to pause the video here on solution-focused techniques because we want to keep it relatively short. I know you're more likely to watch a video that's a few minutes long than is 10 or 15 or 20 minutes long. And please come back and join us next time, and we will look at more methods of solution-focused counseling.
At the release date of this video, I am stationed with Research Development and Engineering Command, RDECOM, at Aberdeen Proving Ground, Maryland. Because the majority of our personnel are in this area, I spend most of my time here. I do, however, travel to our distant units based on command priorities and budget. I place these videos on YouTube for broad visibility to Army personnel and their families. but I hope the videos will be helpful to others too. If you are assigned to RDECOM and want to request specific topics by video, training on site or by VTC, or confidential counseling on site or by secure webcam, you can contact me at jeffrey.d.dillard.mil@mail.mil.